For the last 30 years, German companies have been investing in Bulgaria to make it a better place to live, work, and conduct business. In this exclusive podcast series, the German-Bulgarian Chamber of Industry and Commerce tells the story of how two cultures meet and work together to create better prospects for Bulgarian society. Let's talk business with the leaders of the most prominent German companies in Bulgaria.
Hello again. It is my pleasure to welcome you back to our special podcast series celebrating 30 years of German economy in Bulgaria, a series hosted by the German-Bulgarian Chamber of Industry and Commerce. My name is Irina Bushtarova, and today I'm meeting the business leader for Bulgaria of one of the world's leading companies in the area of climate control, thermal management, control panels for the automotive industry, Behr-Hella Thermocontrol. Martin Nyland is the general manager for Bulgaria for BHTC. The company is now celebrating 10 years of its presence in the country. Mr. Nyland comes with strong background in building manufacturing sites, restructuring organizations, leading multinational teams. His expertise ranges from multiple industries such as construction material, printing glass, and textile. Martin is also a member of the board of directors of the German-Bulgarian Chamber of Industry and Commerce. I'm very happy that you're here with us. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm going to start with the first question. How long have you been in Bulgaria now?
Yes, so I'm already here for almost 18 years or even a bit more. Yeah, I came here in 2004 and 5 at the very beginning, just before Bulgaria entered into the European Union.
What led you here? What brought you here?
Oh, okay, so it was again a work opportunity, job opportunity. I came to Bulgaria for a company called Kodak at that time, and yeah, that was a bit of an adventure, I have to say, because times had been totally different and changed a lot.
Probably you've been observing it very closely, but still it seems that it's been a good adventure because you stayed for so long.
Yeah, obviously I liked to stay here, and really, it's more or less almost my homeland already since all this time. Yeah. In fact, it's the longest place of living where ever I stayed at one place for my entire life, beside my childhood. Yeah.
The Behr-Hella Thermocontrol company and also investment in Bulgaria was launched in 2013.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more about the reasons behind this decision? Why did you decide to set up the plant in Bulgaria, and which institutions helped you launch the business successfully here?
Yes, in 2013, okay, that was a kind of process to figure out what we can do in our worldwide footprint. BHTC was origin from Germany, headquartered in Lippstadt. At that time, they have already launched a factory and location in China for the Asian market. We had one location in USA, later on then also Mexico for the NAFTA market. And of course, obviously, the European market is our strongest market, the market of focus. And yeah, we had to think about how to strengthen this footprint as well. And at the time, there had been a couple of locations and countries we considered to be the one we could select. Of course, it's surrounding countries like Romania, like Serbia, like even Ukraine nowadays, obviously, would have been not a good choice. And okay, Bulgaria was also among of these places. And then you start to think about what kind of criteria we need to fulfill. And then definitely we have to say Bulgaria is offering several things which are very important for us. One, I think, as we automotive, and we are living from really supply chain, fast supply chain, uninterrupted supply chain, the membership in the European Union, that is something which is really important for us. So we need to ship without borders, without customs issues, without delays. So that is one of the key bullet points for selecting Bulgaria as one of the locations. Secondly, also the taxation system, it's quite, let me say, simple and favorable for all companies to come to Bulgaria. We have to admit that. That's something.
It is, definitely. Yep. And it's been also introduced because of that.
Yes, absolutely. And then the next one, it's absolutely, we need people, and that is nowadays really in the focus. So, we are developing, or at that time we developed units, devices and parts, and production of parts. So we need both. Let me say the highest education level and the basic education level. And for the highest one, we need a very close contact to universities, development and research institutions. And that was one criteria to find a combination of, both of that should exist in the country, should exist at a location which is somehow interesting. And of course, that best cost, of course, I mentioned already, that is something we really were looking at. And by doing that kind of selection, of course, we found also countries like Romania, which are already, I would say, in a bit up. So there are a lot of, let me say, migration of companies in these countries has been done years ago. So I think we would be a bit too late, I would, to be honest, to say, So at the end, we decide for Bulgaria, and I personally must say, we are quite happy to do that. We are satisfied, even we had some difficulties in the very beginning. But I would say, yes, it was a good selection.
Was the process, did the German-Bulgarian Chamber of Commerce helped you already back then?
At that time, I was not part of the company, but I was doing a bit of research, and I saw that, of course, we had a lot of first contacts over there. We used the Chamber of Commerce with building the network to find the right persons to support us, the right institution to launch the company, and of course it's the selection of the plot, so together with the national zone, industrial zone, which nowadays is, I think everybody knows about that, but at that time it has been one of the first zones launched in Bulgaria at all, the NKIS in Sofia.
So long ago.
I saw some pictures, so when we came over there, that was brownfield, there was almost nothing, there was just a military base, and the rest was not existing. So it was really a development together with a couple of institutions, investment agency, national zone, industrial zone, the Chamber of Commerce, that helped us a lot to make this launch from scratch very successful.
Bulgaria has in the meantime established its name as a hub, or as a hotspot for the automotive industry. There are a lot of companies which are working in this field in both in hardware and in software. So in your case, it's also you work actually in both directions.
Yes, our devices are.
Maybe you can share a bit more about the operations here.
I can do that. So the device itself we are producing, it's consisting out of some plastic components, which you normally can see. And inside it's really electronic. It's a kind of hardware device, hardware board with software on it, and so it's really a kind of mini computer which is built into the car. So from our perspective, we need all competences. So we need a lot of electronic competence, software competence, and then also design and development in plastic and this kind of components. So it's really a quite complex device itself. And
what is the role of the Bulgarian business or the Bulgarian site in the global organization?
Yes, so we had a bit of change in that one. At the beginning, we were thinking that we can also do a lot of development in Bulgaria. That we have reduced a bit, so we have changed this a bit. So in the meantime, we are producing mostly parts for the worldwide car manufacturers. And I think we can say that we go from the smallest one to I'm a bit proud to say, yes, we are almost the biggest one in the group already. So that's, I think, a very important location for the group. In the location Bulgaria is one of the biggest and most important locations, I would say, for the group as well. So there are other locations as well with a different kind of focus area. But if you talk about production and volume and new launches, that I would say Bulgaria is quite important for the group.
You mentioned the local talent. That was one of the reasons that you chose Bulgaria when you were looking at locations to invest. Can you find right now enough people to fulfill the needs of the business? You reduce the development. What are the opportunities also for business development for professional development at BHTC?
Yes, I think we changed. We reduced on one hand side a bit the pure development activities. On the other hand side, we invested more in really technology and industrial engineering activities, so we became stronger in that field. So in fact, if you're looking for the number of engineers we need, we didn't reduce at all. So we are still need this kind of competence, but we are allocating this to a different field a bit. Yes, it's right. It's quite difficult to find people in Bulgaria with this kind of expertise. So we are focusing on taking people and trying to educate people. So we are developing training programs. We are trying to really give them a career opportunity in our company to grow locally, but also internationally, so that they are not only consider that this is a dead end here in Bulgaria. That's not. So there are plenty of opportunities we are trying to design and draft for them to become visible. And really we are developing a program, and we are dedicating a program, some education steps to them in order to reach this kind of step.
And you started early on, you mentioned you educate them yourself. What kind of program do you have for the youngsters, let's say?
So we have some energizing programs. It's an international program. So we have customized training. So we have a system, automatic system, where we are tracking the education level of people. We are trying to, as I said, define an individual program for everybody to really get the trainings he needs to develop his personal skills. That's more the personal level, and then of course we have also the technical levels where we're giving people the chance to join some courses in order to upgrade their knowledge, so to be up to date.
Okay. Is there maybe an interesting career story of someone that you accompanied over the years?
Yes, I think we have a couple of people. As we said, we grow from the scratch. A lot of people who started really in the shop floor section and worked over there, and they are now on the management level, so they're leading a team of more than 400 people, and they're still pretty young, so even not 40 years old. So they made a really strong career with us. They got a lot of opportunities, so they, I would think the skill-wise they're really, really brilliant. And so then we are focusing on the kind of personal development to make them ready for the future steps.
Yes.
We have others, similar, might be not this prominent careers, but even on other areas, people starting really working as operators, later on become shift leaders, or this kind of careers, or Mr. Expert careers, more than in the international area. So also on our side, there are some people working on international functions. So that is really a kind of network of opportunities we can offer. And if somebody's interested, for sure, we find a way to support them.
The automotive industry doesn't have, or it doesn't strike me so much as being really green, except for certain shiny exceptions in the world. How does BHTC act when it comes to sustainability?
The automotive industry, it's always very dynamic, very fast. So we always at the first place if it comes to new things. We are kind of project-based business, so every car model is on the market for, let me say, 6-7 years max. And then we have to build a new one. So it means once the first one is launched, we are already starting to work on the next one.
Yes.
That is our business about. In the same way, of course, we always trying to be to catch up what is the things, or what is the trend in the market, and what is its standard thinking about green energy to be sustainable. And yes, also Behr-Hella, we had launched an intensive program to follow this trend, or even just at one point in time might be to lead this trend of being sustainable. And activities like that is always that we are, of course, reducing our CO2 footprint, so that our internal target is to be in the next years 100% green, so only using green energy. We most likely will also produce something. That's also some plans to produce energy by ourselves as well. Of course, to buy some certificates if we can't do that to the extent we need to do that. So in general, that is one point we really focus on that one. And yes, resources we are going to use, we're always trying to recycle. So we have a quite good developed waste management system where we're trying really to direct the products. We don't need any more, or let me say the waste, what we're normally generating. I don't like this name waste, into the area that we really can disassemble that. We can reuse that one in order to make this usable to a maximum extent.
Wow.
Therefore, we have a quite high level of, let me say, certification. So we always certified by ISO 40000 standard, which are giving us a very clear understanding how we should do our environmental management system as well. We are certified ISO 50000 for the energy efficiency. It's the newest one we just took. So we really have a focus area on that topic as well, to really use the resources we need to reuse in the most economical and efficient way, and to avoid waste wherever we can do that.
I think it's also very important, especially maybe also even now with the disruption of all the supply chains during the conflict in Ukraine. So I think when you comply to such high standards when it comes to sustainability, you indirectly influence also the way of thinking which is here in Bulgaria, and G is a relatively new concept for, I think, most of the businesses here, although it's hitting us with a very strong. So in comparison to last year, I have the feeling that now all the major companies in Bulgaria, they have an ESG strategy, they have introduced it, and we start speaking about it. In what other way do you think that over the years BHTC has influenced the way that business is done?
Yeah, we can say that, from one perspective, I would say we're really German as a company, with all what you imagine is a German company about. We are living a kind of international environment in our company where we really we're really doing that. We really respect the honor and the dignity of people. That is one of our core values. And that is also then visible in our daily life, in our company, in worldwide, not only in our locations here in Bulgaria. That is one point. The other point is we really, I would say, make a solid investment in Bulgaria. So that's everything it's owned. What you can see, it's owned by BHTC. So a lot of things it's done. It's a like of sustainable long-term investment.
Okay.
And that is something we demonstrate by here in the market and to everybody who's working for us. That's giving a kind of security, reliability, and a long-term strategy and vision for people working for us. And that is something what I understood. It's very much demanded by persons here. And besides the fact that, of course, you would like to make a fast career development and changes all the time. At the other hand of side, I think that is also important for society. That there's a long-term strategy and vision that was not that's not much given for a long time in Bulgaria. And that is, I think, one of the biggest values in the company, and that is something we're giving to the people, and of course we get also positive feedback for that, and therefore I think that is a bit of also a changing in mindset over the time, and that is going to spread around as well. That is, I think, one of the things we can give back to the country as well, and it's influencing a bit also the business environment.
I can imagine that it is true. There is another development that you actually managed to observe. So 2007, Bulgaria joined the European Union. How do you think our membership has improved the business climate in the country so far? Right now the discussion is becoming very relevant again.
Okay. For, let's say, companies like international companies like us, of course, joining the European Union was a big event. So where a lot of legal regulations has been changed, the trade and the movement of goods became much more easier. So we got a certain level of security in, let me say, legislation, but of course there's a lot of things which can be done better. So in the actual political development, we are not that much involved, because we are not a political party. We are a company who's
that's not your job, of course.
Our jobs, And of course, we would like and would appreciate if we get a stable government for the future as well. We would appreciate if Bulgaria will continue the path to be part of the European Union, to be even stronger in the European Union.
You mentioned that you have long-term strategy. Maybe you can share a bit more about the future plans of BHTC in Bulgaria. Give us let's look at the how is it, the looking glass?
That is quite interesting. in fact, the last 2-3 years, we had a very strong transition in the automotive industry, what it in respect to the dashboards, the appearance, the units inside that. So driving a car, you will recognize that the conventional units like with buttons and knobs and all these things are going to disappear. They're more and more replaced by touch screens, by HMI, human machine interfaces with haptic feedback. So the appearance in the car becomes totally different. For us, it means our products need to change in total. So we don't put, or we do that, but the share of conventional products is shrinking, starting from last year, we have to say. And so we will transfer almost 60% of our production in the next years to these new kind of devices.
60% is a lot.
That's a lot, yeah. On one hand side, and additionally, we will grow by the same way. So we will mostly almost double our turnover by 100%. So we are moving to almost 300 million euros turnover in the upcoming years. That's also something we have in our plans. So the growth path for the location in Bulgaria is continuing. And so that's a very, let me say, intense transition period we are currently in. So new products, new technologies, and again, a growth at the same time. So the vision for Bulgaria is quite bright, but of course also demanding and challenging, and it's a bit of thrill for everybody who's working for us.
Are you going to be looking for rather hardware engineers or software engineers?
We are constantly looking for engineering, hardware, software, designer, also industrial engineering, so all kind of engineers.
All kind of engineers.
They are welcome to work with us. So as we said, we are growing, and we're also offering some international opportunities at our factory. So it means not only it's a local task they need to work on. So I think it can become quite interesting for people who are willing to come with us on a journey. To, of course, taking the challenge to work in a demanding and fast-moving and changing environment, and are willing really to contribute. And I think that is the best ever you can normally offer to an engineer. So not so many limits, a lot of opportunities, creativity, and an inspiring environment. So that's when I was young, I would have found it really
exciting.
Exciting, yeah. But of course, it's also a bit demanding. Yeah, it's not then that you do every day the same things. Yeah.
Martin, you're yourself also a member of the directors of the German-Bulgarian Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Why did you decide to get involved in the work of the chamber?
First of all, I must say thank you that they elected me into the board of Chamber of Commerce. So it's something I can't really do it myself. Yes, it's I think it's the community of the, I think say even the biggest chamber in Bulgaria with the most of the members, and I think we are representing big share of the Bulgarian community, and that's could play a really important role in the daily life of Bulgaria. So I think it's important that we as a company will also contribute with our knowledge, with our experience in this environment, to give a feedback of our learnings in order to make the access of new companies, as we had that years ago, a bit easier. So on one hand side, we participated in the very beginning. We had been using this kind of knowledge and competence, and I think it's time that we're giving a bit back for that we're giving our feedback, our input into this community, and that I think something I can do a bit, and at least I can contribute a bit to that. That's one point, and I think for Bulgaria it should be also, it is a good opportunity to have a partner in the business who's dealing on a day-to-day business daily with people who are in these problems and in these issues. So that's a very good communication, feedback, kind of dialogue between industry and politics, and that is the forum the Chamber of Commerce can offer better than anybody else, I would even say. Yeah. Therefore, for me personally, it was a wish to participate, to contribute, and to be part of this team.
Can you maybe share in what ways the Chamber has managed to help businesses or businesses who have this German background or this German connection? What have you achieved maybe together? Can you share an example or a story?
Yes, at the very beginning we were really talking about, so you're coming to Bulgaria and that's a not known country. So first of all, you need an access point, you need a partner who takes you and who is going to connect you with the important and the necessary things to be done. So the entire launch, I would really say, of the company, legal or also economical, that was the one the Chamber helped us a lot with. And fortunately we had no legal issues so far. That means this kind of section we fortunately didn't need to use. So I think that was the one which I can remember was the most useful for us in the very beginning. Of course, we have also our kind of work groups inside of the Chamber where we are discussing and also proposing things. And we're trying to input in a lot of smaller things our knowledge in order to change or to initiate some changes in the Bulgarian law, especially as well.
Okay.
It's also something we're working on.
In the end, I would like to ask you a bit more about your personal experience in Bulgaria. I find it fascinating that you've been here for, you mentioned 18 years?
18 years, yeah.
Exactly. And is there a prejudice that you have been seeing from, I don't know, let's say people who are coming from Germany to Bulgaria, and they're then surprised and say, we thought that it's going to be different in Bulgaria, like a repeating pattern?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the image maybe 20 years ago was, or let me say, the knowledge or the pictures or Bulgaria as a tourist destination was not very well developed. Sofia not, okay, the Black Sea coast a bit, and the image was not the best one. So the combined image of Bulgaria was really a bit like, okay, it's a former socialist country, everything is a bit, yeah, absolutely, there's a wall behind, and that's everything a bit dark, and and okay, the Kurdic language, alphabet and the language, everything was a bit keeping people on distance. So, and coming to Bulgaria, of course, the first impression, I can remember when I was coming here, it was in autumn, and it was a bit rainy and dizzy, and you can imagine how it was looking like at the time. So, not that much color. So, and that is the first impression, and that absolutely have changed. Yeah. So nowadays, people are arriving in Sofia, coming to Sofia, looking at the city, also other cities, but of course I'm living in Sofia. That looks really like a capital. Yeah. True. Yeah, of course you can do a bit more maintenance and you can fix a bit more the streets, but okay, in general that's all the world like that. So it's not that that is something which changed a lot, and I think it can be also recognized by everybody, but sometimes it's not done like that. Yeah?
Sometimes I feel that expats are even better ambassadors for Bulgaria and for Sofia than Bulgarians themselves. Somehow I feel that Bulgarians have been repeating this narrative that we're in crisis and nothing will ever improve for way too long, and it's become automatic. And the facts actually show that a lot has improved, also economically. And I'm also always curious to ask someone who has been, following this progress of how it looked, because I could have seen it just, in a very sporadic way.
Yeah. So I must really say, nowadays almost everything is existing in this country, in Sofia especially. So there's nothing you really miss, and I think the country made a really significant development over the last 10 or 15 years, and I can only emphasize the pessimistic approach you mentioned. I can't really share.
Have you been observing maybe also some culture clashes between the Bulgarian and the German way of thinking? Is there actually such a big difference in the culture? Well, how do you feel that?
also a bit let's say dangerous question, to be honest.
You can be honest here, I guess.
Yeah, I think let's say the environment people grow up, of course, it's different. So we can't ignore that. It's still existing, yeah. And I think Bulgaria and or everybody in Bulgaria is still on a growth path. So we are still thinking everything should become better and becomes better. We are growing, so we are developing, we are generating, or people generating their future, and they're eager to do more and better and more. The environment we had also, the Germans, or in Germany people had also, and I would say that Germany is a bit more settled now because it's a long-term journey they made already. It's a continuous growth, it's really organized growth, and I think people are a bit more hungry here, I would say, in this case. And in both directions, in consuming and also in giving. So they experience their life still as an adventure, and what is coming next is not secured yet. This kind of level, that is a mentality which is, in my opinion, a bit different.
I can agree here. It is also one of the reasons why I came back. I felt like that's also a place where I could maybe contribute more than and have impact than if I stayed up somewhere abroad.
I personally was several times asked why I'm still here, and I say it's the reason why I'm here. So there's no meaning to go back. So I think I can focus on all the negative points, and I will find most likely hundreds of them. But I can also look at the positive ones and the things I like and in the country. And I think it might be your experience. A lot of foreigners are like it, by the way. So they are really focusing and identifying the points which are different and they like in this country and in this population, working with people here and living with people in this country. But then that makes them interested to be here.
True. I like this as a closing also of our interview. I think there is a lot more to be achieved when we stay a bit hungry and ambitious. And we can achieve that at a higher pace than maybe others, so that in a way we catch up and maybe even surpass some of the countries. I'm looking forward to this one. Martin, it's been a pleasure having you here in our podcast, and I'm looking forward to understand how BHTC will grow in the future.